Brock gives him a German suplex, then gives one to Sami as well. Knight steps up to Brock without showing any fear or hesitation, but he leaves himself open to a spear from Breakker. Brock looks at Braun and nods his head. He turns around to go back to Sami and Jay, but finds himself standing directly in front of Oba Femi. Both men roar in each other's faces. They take turns giving each other lariats, but neither man falters. They rebound from the ropes, and the same thing happens. Sami and Jay each try to jump on one man's back, but they are both flipped off. Brock picks up Sami and hits him with an F5. Oba picks up Jay and hits him with a release F5. They bow up to each other again as we get entrant number 23, Jacob Fatu. The Samoan werewolf, only a week out from his brawl with Cody Rhodes, is the next man up. He gets in the ring to join the face-off between Femi and Brock. The other two are unable to break their gaze from each other, but Fatu makes his presence felt by shoving both men at once. Both make an attempt to swing for Fatu, but Jacob ducks it and rebounds off the ropes, hitting both with a clothesline. However, both remain on their feet. A three-way slugfest ensues that ends with Brock and Oba being thrown over the top rope by Fatu. Again, both men stay alive by landing on the apron. LA Knight steps up to Fatu as a callback to their Mania 41 match last year. Knight starts throwing punches at Fatu, but he whips him to the ropes before hitting him with a pop-up Samoan drop. Oba pushes Brock into the ring post and makes his way back into the ring to be confronted by Braun Breaker. They only have a brief stare down before Brock gives Femi a German suplex. Lesnar daps up Breaker before they split to attack others in opposing corners. Bodies are starting to pile up in the ring when out comes entrant number 24, Gunther. The ring general Gunther slowly strolls to the ring, grinning from ear to ear, raises his hands to reveal that he has AJ's gloves from their match earlier in the night. He rips them apart and just makes his way into the ring. He gets there and immediately gives a big boot to Sami, then a chop to Jay, another to Breaker, and one more to Knight. Gunther then finds himself face to face with Jacob Fatu. Before anything happens, Femi and Lesnar join them. Femi standing off with Oba and Gunther staring down a confrontation with Lesnar. All four behemoths start going at each other. Michael Cole makes a comment saying he's not sure if the ring will be able to withstand all the mayhem going on. They each find themselves in the middle of the ring again. Gunther gives a chop to Breaker. Femi hits Zayn with a fall from grace. Fatu hits Knight with his corner hip attack, and Brock gives Uso another German suplex. Then Breaker rushes towards Brock and clothesline him clean over the top rope. Both Brock and Paul each have a confused, shocked look on their face. Lesnar stares angrily at Braun, who starts barking at him. Brock then makes his way towards Heyman and says, "Don't forget about me," before making his exit. Brock Lesnar has been eliminated. Braun Breaker has 13 eliminations. He is now tied with Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar, the man he just eliminated, for the most amount of eliminations in a single Rumble match. Gunther steps back and starts applauding Braun. Braun challenges Gunther to chop him, and he happily accepts. Breaker shrugs off the first, and Gunther looks shocked. He brushes off a second, and now Gunther is annoyed. He goes for a third, but Braun is able to avoid it and rebound off the ropes and hits Gunther with a massive spear. Braun gets up, but he is greeted by Oba Femi. They slug it out until the fight is broken up by Jacob Fatu. He is the only man left standing in the ring as we get entrant number 25, Cody Rhodes. The American Nightmare is in the Rumble. Wrestling has more than one royal family, and Cody has a bone to pick with the man standing inside the ring. He does the whoa before sprinting to the ring to meet a prepared Fatu. They get into a hockey fight immediately, neither man willing to give an inch. But Jacob gives Cody a knee to the side. Oba and Gunther start going at it on the other side of the ring, and Cody is able to create just enough distance to hit a Cody cutter on Fatu. He lines him up for a crossroads, but is then speared by Breakker, who is ready to go on a warpath once again. Jay hits him with a super kick, but he eats it and sends Jay flying out of the ring. Jay Uso has been eliminated. Braun Breakker now has the record with 14 eliminations. Sammy tries to get Braun with his back turned, but Breakker grabs a hold of him and T-bone suplexes him over the top rope, but Sami Zayn is able to hold on. LA Knight is about to hit another middle rope elbow drop, but Breakker cuts him off to hit his avalanche Frankensteiner. Cody and Fatu are going at it again when Jacob gets Cody in position for his mighty moonsault. He hits it and does his little wiggle thing when he is spun around by Gunther. The crowd gets really excited, but this is broken up by Femi and Breakker. Everyone is going at it in the ring as we get entrant number 26, Damian Priest. The Weipa Man is here and makes his way to the ring upset over being pinned in the Fatal 4-Way last week at Saturday Night's main event. He hits all of his signature offense on various foes, but blaming Sammy for his loss, he starts targeting him. Eventually, he hits Sammy with the South of Heaven before fixing his attention towards Gunther, remembering he was the one to end his first and so far only World Championship reign. Him and Gunther exchange blows while Breakker and Knight continue going at it in the corner. With them out of the way, that clears space for Jacob, Fatu, and Oba Femi to meet in the middle of the ring. However, Cody recovers enough to hit Fatu with a Cody cutter. Oba looks at Cody, and Cody nods before attacking him. Cody is seemingly able to get the best of Oba before he hits Cody with one of his European uppercuts. Oba then starts hitting them to everyone that happens to be in a corner, knocking out the entire field. Oba is the only man currently standing as we get entrant number 27, Trick Williams. Whoa, that Trick is the next man to enter the Rumble. Trick Willie takes a moment to absorb the energy from the crowd before jogging his way into the ring. He is immediately confronted by Oba, who reminds Trick that he is the mountain that he cannot climb, as Trick was never able to defeat Oba within their time in NXT. Trick goes for a punch that Oba blocks, then Oba goes for a chop that Trick evades by ducking under. He bounces off the ropes and hits Oba with the Trick shot. It takes a second one to take Oba off his feet, though. Then Trick is able to give one to Cody, a trick shot to Priest, and he is then confronted by Sami Zayn. Sami tells him that he is way too cocky and arrogant and that he's not going to make it far in WWE acting the way he is. Trick scuffs this off and throws a punch at Sami, who is able to reverse it into a blue thunderbomb. Trick bounces up, but Sami is able to give him an exploder into the corner. He makes it up to his feet, and then he starts charging towards Trick to give him a haluva kick, but Braun Breakker meets him in the middle and cuts him off with a spear. Braun picks Sami up and starts dragging him towards the ropes when he is grabbed by Knight and flung over the top rope, but he's barely able to hold on. Knight and Breakker exchange punches with Braun fighting to stay alive in the match. Breakker's finally able to fend off LA Knight when he catches a haluva kick right to the face that sends him tumbling to the floor. Braun Breakker has been eliminated with a record 14 eliminations. Sami Zayn has 1 elimination. Paul Heyman screams, "No!" as the timer expires for entrant number 28, Randy Orton. The Viper makes his 15th appearance in the Royal Rumble match. He slowly makes his way down the ramp, stopping right by the apron. For some reason, the Apex Predator has a weird feeling, and he lifts up the ring skirt to reveal that Dominic Mysterio has been hiding down there for a while. Dom has a terrified look on his face, and he tries to scurry away before being plucked out from underneath the ring by Randy. Orton then tosses him into the ring, but Dirty Dom tries to run. Unfortunately, he finds himself running directly into Oba Femi. Oba immediately hits him with a fall from grace, and Dom pops back up to his feet and is immediately hit by an RKO from Randy. Orton then clotheslines Dom right out of the ring. Dominic Mysterio has been eliminated. Randy Orton has 1 elimination. Randy then goes on his vintage RKO rampage, giving one to Knight, Priest, Trick, Gunther, and finally one to Sammy. Cody and Fatu, though, once again find themselves brawling amongst all the chaos. They end up falling through the ropes, notably under the top rope, so neither man is eliminated. They continue fighting around the announce desk, clearing it off, and even spilling into the timekeeper's area. Cody finds a chair and starts walloping Jacob with it. Fatu is eventually able to reverse the situation and gets a hold of the chair himself. He attempts to strike Cody, but misses and hits the ring post with the vibrations causing him to drop it. Cody is able to deliver a few punches before being pushed away by Jacob. He charges Fatu again, who is able to throw him up into the air to hit a pop-up Samoan drop through the announce table. Everyone inside the ring is able to get back to their feet, slowly engaging in fights around the ring as the countdown begins for the penultimate entrant. The clock ticks down, and there's a slight glitch to it. It finally hits 0, with the buzzer going off and the lights turning out. Suddenly, at the top of the entrance, we can make out a silhouette of a light-up jacket flashing light blue LEDs. The lights turn on, the jacket shuts off, and after a brief pause, we hear, "Break the walls down! Break down the walls!" Entrant number 29 is Chris Jericho. Y2J has made his long-awaited return after nearly a decade away from the company. Jericho completely soaks in everything the crowd gives him as he enters his 12th Royal Rumble. He struts his way down to the ring with his modern look, but the energy of like 2009-2010 Jericho. He gets in the ring and looks around for a second to embrace the moment. Then he goes after LA Knight with a code breaker and one to Sammy as well, with a third to Trick just for good measure. He finds himself face to face with Randy Orton. Both men slowly back away and turn from each other before both snapping back and staring right at the other. This moment is then ruined by Gunther and Oba Femi, who start beating down on the two living legends. Randy is able to push Oba away while Gunther is hit with a code breaker, putting him in perfect position for Randy to capitalize with an RKO to Gunther. Oba then grabs Randy and attempts to fall from grace, but Randy is able to reverse it into a midair RKO to Femi. So much chaos has unfolded, and we are still yet to introduce entrant number 30, Roman Reigns. He is the head of the table, the tribal chief, and he is ready to win his second Royal Rumble match. Roman enters and gives a pair of Superman punches, one to Sammy and another to Knight. He then stalks over Trick, ready to hit him with a spear, but instead is hit with a Trick shot. Trick could shock the world here, eliminating Roman in less than 30 seconds, but Roman is able to avoid being tossed out of the ring by flipping Trick over the rope instead, but he is able to successfully skin the cat. Priest attempts to hit Roman with a bell clap, but Roman ducks it and shoves his shoulder into Priest's abdomen. Roman re-enters the ring and delivers a Superman punch to Trick, and finally lands a spear on Knight, and another one to Orton. Jericho pretends to be down and out in the corner. Gunther then steps up to Roman and says, "I've been waiting for a moment like this," and he proves it by rising to the occasion, going toe-to-toe and blow for blow with the former undisputed champion. Cody and Fatu find their way brawling into the ring again when they are suddenly stopped by Gunther and Roman. Gunther starts fighting Fatu at the same time Cody fights Roman. Priest replaces Fatu, still wanting to get revenge on Gunther. Sammy steps in between Cody and Roman, saying that the three of them need to work together to help take out the physically more dominant foes as LA Knight joins them. Oba is taking care of Trick in the corner. Jericho is still sitting in the corner waiting for his moment to shine. Randy joins in the fight against the larger men and even hits Fatu with another RKO. Right at that moment, Gunther is able to flip both Femi and Trick onto the apron. Oba takes a Trick shot right to the face. It doesn't seem to affect him at all when Trick is booted in the side of the head by Sami Zayn, causing him to crumble to the floor. Trick Williams has been eliminated. Sami Zayn has 2 eliminations. LA Knight finds himself on the bad end of a Codebreaker RKO combo. Priest goes after Randy, but Randy is able to drop the rope down with Damian tumbling over, but he's able to hang on. He makes his way back to his feet when Damian is hit with Jericho's spinning back elbow, knocking him off the apron. Damian Priest has been eliminated. Chris Jericho has one elimination. Orton sees this as a perfect opportunity to fling Jericho out of the Rumble, and he does so with ease. Chris Jericho has been eliminated. He had one elimination. Randy Orton has 2 eliminations. Completely blinded by rage, Cody and Jacob's brawl continues with just as much intensity as when it started. The two of them are able to get back into the ring, fists still being exchanged. They bump into almost everyone as their fight rages on. Oba and Gunther share a look with each other before double clotheslining Cody and Jacob over the top rope, with both men hitting the floor. Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu have been eliminated. Oba Femi and Gunther each have one elimination. They continue brawling at ringside like nothing happened, seemingly oblivious to the fact they were eliminated. They end up fighting all the way through the crowd until they're gone. Roman goes to hit a spear on LA Knight, but he's able to counter it midair into a BFT. Knight attempts to pick up Roman, but Gunther grabs him by the neck and throws him over the top rope. LA is able to land on the apron though, and he does his best to survive. Sami Zayn is thrown over the same way by Oba Femi, also able to land on the apron. They each fend off Gunther and Oba respectively, but are both left in no man's land staring each other down. They go back and forth for a moment until Knight shoves Zayn back first into the ring post, who collapses down onto the apron. And right at that moment, Knight is hit with a Superman punch from Roman Reigns that sends him to the floor. LA Knight has been eliminated. He had 3 eliminations. Roman Reigns has 1 elimination. Randy Orton is stalking Gunther, ready to strike him with an RKO, but right before he's able to spin Gunther around, Oba Femi grabs Orton and is able to toss him out of the ring. Randy Orton has been eliminated. He had 2 eliminations. Oba Femi has 2 eliminations. Oba has a face-off with Roman that ends with Oba hitting his spine buster. Gunther and Sami go at it until Gunther is able to put Sami to sleep in his dreaded sleeper hold. This is our final 4. Sami knocked out, Roman on the ground, Gunther and Oba once again face off with each other in the middle of the ring. The current day monster heel versus the monster heel of the future. They go back and forth for a long time, probably 2 to 3 minutes worth. Sami stumbles to his feet but is chopped right back down by Gunther. Gunther finds himself teetering on the edge with Oba trying to throw him over the top rope when Roman comes up from behind, flipping both men over and out. Oba Femi and Gunther have both been eliminated. Oba Femi had 2 eliminations and Gunther had 1. Roman Reigns has 3 eliminations. Roman turns around to realize that he and Sami are the last 2 men in the ring. Sami barely being able to hobble up to his feet with all the punishment he's taken. Roman makes his way towards Zayn when Sami collapses at his feet. Roman looks around with a happy yet pompous look on his face. He lifts Sami up to his feet, and Sami is able to muster out the words, "I've beaten you here once before, and I know I can do it again." Roman pushes Zayn away, landing in the corner. Roman charges to hit Sami with a Superman punch, but Sami is able to get out of the way. Roman turns around and eats a haluva kick right to the face. Both men go down with a double down spot. After a few moments, they both slowly rise to their feet before beginning to trade punches. Sami getting yay, Reigns getting boo. Roman is able to get the upper hand and lands a Superman punch on Sami. Roman takes a beat to collect himself in the corner. He shouts, "Ooh, ah!" And right as he looks down, he takes another haluva kick right to the mouth. Sami catches Roman before he falls and sets him up again. Zayn lines it up, and delivers a third haluva kick to Roman. He grabs him by the neck to carry his momentum to the other side of the ring, and right as he goes to toss him out, Roman reverses the position and throws Sami clean over the top rope. However, Sami has a hold of the ropes, neither foot hitting the floor. Roman believes he has won, falling to his knees in the middle of the ring when he realizes Sami's still holding on. He tries to recover quickly, but Sami is able to gain his footing on the apron. Roman throws a punch at Sami, but he's able to avoid everything. Reigns goes to throw a clothesline, but Zayn pulls the rope down, bringing Roman to the apron as well. Both men are on edge with a trip to WrestleMania on the line. Reigns punches Sami, who stumbles but holds on. Zayn punches Roman, who stumbles but holds on. Reigns punches Sami again before telling him, "You will never be as good as me. I am up here, you are down here. Not everyone can main event WrestleMania, Sami." They engage in a hockey fight on the apron, which ends with Zayn shoving Roman into the post, Reigns bouncing off and giving a Superman punch to Sami Zayn. Zayn crumbles to the floor and almost falls off before grabbing the rope, the bottom rope, and flinging himself into the ring. Reigns follows him and picks him up. He tells Sami, "You are not good enough to beat," and Sami grabs him and hits him with an exploder suplex. He charges Roman for another haluva kick, but is caught halfway by a spear from Roman. Roman starts shouting, "I told you this was gonna happen, but just like back then, you never listen." Roman shifts Sami to his feet, but Sami starts firing up. Roman slaps him, but his energy increases. He slaps him a second time, but Sami keeps increasing his energy. Roman goes to slap Sami for a third time, but Zayn is able to evade it and starts his comeback sequence. He hits a pair of clotheslines that stun Roman. He tries to throw one back that Sami ducks and rebounds off the ropes before hitting Reigns with a step-up dropkick. Roman stumbles back towards the ropes, and with a final burst of energy, Sami gives Roman a haluva kick, sending him over the top rope to the floor. Roman Reigns has been eliminated. Sami Zayn has 3 eliminations and has won the 2026 Men's Royal Rumble match. That is how I would book the Royal Rumble. Let me know what you think down below, and after this weekend, let me know how mine compares to the one that actually happened. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.